So I got pictures personally sent. This gown he wore every single day. So I ended up sending them another one, and the just happiness from it that they showed and thankfulness. I'm like,
Wow.
I love that. And they're like, we thought of you every time. So now they're continuous customers, and it's just they tell everybody about the brand. I didn't really do anything personally, just something that made a difference for them.
That's Brittany Davis, the founder and owner of the baby clothing line Willow & Co. Brittany sat down to talk with us about how she's been growing her business over the past decade.
She decided to utilize her fashion blogging expertise and turn it into a career that she was really passionate about, where she could utilize her marketing skills and knowledge and combine it with fashion. Here's the one-of-a-kind Brittany Davis. So Brittany, thank you so much for coming on the podcast
Thank
today.
you for having me.
Yeah.
So happy to be here.
Oh, this is so fun.
Yes.
So this will be our first in-person conversation.
Yeah,
And this
much.
is kind of my favorite thing. So can you tell us a little bit about your story and how you started your business?
Yes. So it started probably about 3 years ago when I was like, okay, I really want to do a little brick and mortar type thing. I was working with boutiques at the time, trying to get, into the blogging world like so many other people. But so I was like, okay, I'm going to start working with boutiques instead of bigger places like Nordstrom's and all that. And I started to love so many different business owners and seeing kind of what they did on the back end. And I realized this is major work, but this is fun and awesome and something I can do long term. So looked a little more into that, then realized, okay, the brick and mortar is not going to work for me. Let's just go online. So from there, kind of figuring out, okay, do I do my own brand? Do I do women's clothing? Do I do activewear? What do I do? And at the time, my company, I was in this amazing sales position. They got bought out by our competitor. So I was super sad about it. I lost this amazing position, but it was the perfect opportunity. I was also 5 months pregnant at the time with my first child. So I'm like, okay, no one's going to hire. It's sad, but true. It's going to be really hard to find another position right now. So I'm like, this is my opportunity. And it kind of all just evolved into, all right, let's just try baby. There's a little bit less there's still a lot of competition, but let's see if, this is something that I can do, get the essentials. And it just all kind of started to fall into place with that. But I realized I wanted to do something different, and it was hard to do that with so many different brands and, just kind of trying to find that. So I went to a ton of different trade shows and learned about fabrics and, all of that, and found bamboo. And that's where I was like, okay, this is it. It's sustainable, it's soft, it's amazing, it lasts, your baby can wear it for a long amount of time. And then I went from there and just said, I'm going to do essentials, and pretty much just found my manufacturer. It wasn't all it didn't flow as well as it sounds, but that was huge for me to just find the right fabric, learn that I was doing, everything essentials for baby, and went from there and just picked out a few different patterns and started going.
That's incredible. So did you do all this by yourself?
No, I mean, yes and no. I have to give so much credit to, I would even just kind of brainstorm in the beginning, who can help me, who knows something, who's in the industry. And one of my close family friends, she owns her own dog grooming apparel line of all things. And she was able to give me so much advice and just, really, it was like, okay, how is she going to help me with baby stuff? But she helped me, figure out things about, okay, you got to think about inventory control. You've got to think about all these different aspects, things I didn't even, think were a thing. So starting out thinking about everybody that I knew possible and kind of informationally interviewing everybody, and got tons and tons of feedback and advice from that. So yeah, I really attribute to a lot of just different business owners that helped me out. And then, my husband too, he was a part of it, and having just being able to kind of just help with the number side of things or whatever it may be. But yeah, I pretty much just did it on my own. It was fun, and it was a lot of work. I learned a ton. But yeah, down the road, I'd like to have someone else. But for now, yeah, it's just me.
What was some of the best advice you remember getting during that time period?
Oh, being vulnerable and being open to constructive criticism, because that can be hard when you have this product that you've put time and effort into, and then when someone brings something to your attention, to take it positively. Like, okay, they're trying to help me. This is not them bashing my product. Being open to that and being humble and asking anyone questions and not ever feeling like you're above anybody else or anyone else's advice. So
That's
I
a
would
good
definitely say that was very
one.
helpful.
Leading with humility.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
definitely. So, what's the name of your baby line?
It's called Willow and Co.
Willow and Co. That's so
Yes.
sweet. And where did you come up with that?
Well, it started with Whittle, like Little Whittle and Co. And we liked it. There was a lot of brainstorming around the name. But Willow, it was like, okay, it's a beautiful tree. It's life. It's airy. It's fresh. It's earthy. So just kind of loved the whole concept of it. And I wanted it to be as on brand as possible because I knew everything was going to be kind of earthy and sustainable and all of that. So had a few options that I took polls from all my friends, all my family, and that was definitely the winner.
Yeah.
And I always wanted it for some reason to say & Co. Don't
Yeah.
know why.
Yeah.
Don't know who my company is but me, but yeah, it looks cute.
Yes,
so
it totally does.
yeah.
So, did you have a following on Instagram before creating your business, or did that follow?
I had a small following myself, and that was very helpful.
So what was your following at that point before you even started?
Maybe like not a large following, close to around 10,000 or so. And then that really, when I was kind of getting more followers and I stopped doing a lot of blogging type stuff, it really kind of just evened out, and it really grows very slowly now compared to before when I was really promoting myself more. But that helped actually. I'll see people who order stuff that I met years ago or, middle school, high school, just people who I'm like, oh, we've crossed paths before. And that, I think it does help. Social media, is huge for that. As much as it can be difficult at times, it's made a huge difference.
So how much does social media play in the business now?
I would say 75% still. So I do work with different shops, wholesale, a couple in the Bay Area, a lot of them online. So they're doing their sales online, of course, the online shops. And the rest of them are coming through us. When I was actually running ads, of course, for a while. That helped significantly. I stopped for a little while around the holiday time because it was so expensive, and I noticed a huge difference. But that's the way it is. Everyone's doing the ads, so it's hard to not.
Yeah, participate.
Yeah.
Definitely. And then what other kinds of strategies have you used marketing-wise?
Well, okay, so of course there's a different type of ads. Before it was just straight ads. Now retargeting ads are huge. And you're obviously not always going to capture your buyer off of the first touch per se. So the ones that continuously are, and I notice it happens to me all the time. I'll see something online and I won't buy it the first time. I'll see it 3 or 4 more times, and I'm like, I need this. And I'm like, oh my God, this is working. Like, this is a thing. So,
Totally.
retargeting. Let me think here. Definitely, it's small, but doing pop-ups are helpful in just different areas. But online, 100% running the ads, giveaways. Those are helpful because, as you know, every single time like your people are being tagged, that's how the algorithm is online. Where when I started doing the blogging type stuff in the beginning, that wasn't even a thing yet.
Right.
So people were growing a lot quicker, and now it's a little more challenging. Yeah.
So speaking of when you were blogging early on, did you have a passion for writing and like storytelling in that space? And have you felt like you've been able to like sustain that as you now are in a different role and the business is in a different place?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a slightly different audience, and where I keep things a little more streamlined than when in the blogging side of it, you're kind of just talking about your daily stuff. You can be talking about, food, what you're cooking that week, to what you're wearing, what your child's wearing, different skincare, all of that. This is definitely more streamlined. And even so, learning how to speak to, because your audience is moms and dads, of course, right? Speak to that audience, and being able to just capture that side of things actually has been even almost more challenging, I think, because stuff can get repetitive. So yes, I would definitely say I liked the storytelling side of things, but this has been even more kind of fun. I love the side of it where I'm messaging just different moms back and forth. I've had a hard time even having a customer service person come into the picture because I like to have kind of control of that side of things where I'm having the conversation and people are like, I haven't told anybody yet they're having a baby. And you're like, oh, I know first. Like, I'm so excited. Like, and they want to come to you. And so,
That's really cool.
yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah. So you said that you were in a position prior. Was it a sales type of
Yes,
job? Okay.
yes, 100%
Because it
sales.
seems like you have a good foundation in that area.
Yes.
Did you go to school for?
I did communications, multimedia communication. I wanted to do broadcasting at first. That was like a young, fresh 16, 17, 18-year-old. Kind of
Show me the camera.
Yeah.
Where's the camera?
Yeah. And then I learned this is
got my
not
light,
as
got my light.
glamorous. Yeah, exactly.
Right,
And then I'm like,
right.
I don't even like myself on camera that much. So no.
Do wake up at like 4 a.m?
Oh, yeah.
it's
That's what I
crazy.
did. My
Yeah.
shifts at KTVU were 4 a.m. downtown Oakland at the station. Yeah, I really, really wanted to do that. Learned it's just not for me. I can't move to, I don't know, Waco, Texas right now and make $8 an hour. It was at the time like that's
what
what
it
you were
was.
going to do. And
Yeah.
I know that's a sacrifice, but I wasn't passionate enough about it. So sales I had good guidance, try out sales, and it's been great for me. I mean, just learning how to speak to people, and it's even more fun, of course, to sell my product than it is what I was selling before. So that foundation has been nothing but helpful.
And you told us about the evolution, but can you tell us a little bit about those struggles that you kind of said that you glossed over a little bit? I'm
Yeah.
curious some of
Yes.
the struggles in it.
I think one of the things that does make it challenging is keeping everything on brand as possible, meaning everything from my fabric to where everything is produced and made, all the way to just keeping the style similar. It's very easy to be like all over the place with people like, can you make adult onesies? Can you make rompers? Can you do prints? Can you do this and that? And kind of taking that feedback. And also price point too. How do you keep your price point made for everybody?
Yeah.
You really can't. And so that all comes back to me keeping things what the brand I wanted it to stay as, which was sustainable, made in the United States. Everything is made in LA, and it's more expensive, of course. The fabric's more expensive, but you kind of learn that you are might not be for everybody, but as close as you can be. And that's the main thing is I wanted to do prints at one time. I wanted to do this and that, and it got all over the place. And I felt like I was going away from what I wanted to do, which is the essentials, the neutrals, the basics. And it becomes very overwhelming at that point of how to please everybody and kind of take things a step back and realize that's not for us right now, and we'll get there. I did have some struggles with my manufacturer, some huge struggles where I ended up losing a good chunk of money, and you trust. I'm not making the stuff myself. I need someone to make it.
Yeah.
And you trust their timelines. I had shops that were depending on me and know me personally, and things I'm so sorry, 3 more weeks. Next thing you know, it's a month or 2 months, and there's nothing you can do about it but push on your end and make sure the quality is still great. Keep your relationship with your manufacturer is it's a whole thing in itself. And ended up having to find a new manufacturer, which was also there. It's not like you just go in a catalog and find one or online and find one. I mean, they're very hidden gems, basically. So
How did you find yours?
this time it was thankfully another referral. And the first time was a referral as well. This time around, I had to dig a little bit deeper. I asked actually a lot of people that were in the industry. Some people had their issues with their own. Other people wouldn't even, of course, it's a little harder, give up the name of who they were working with. And so I just had to keep
Pressing.
working towards it. Yeah. Luckily found this one. They work with amazing brands as well. Thought they were going to be out of our price range. It worked out. And I have a great relationship with them now. I go down and see them. And I think that's been huge, is being involved as much as I can, even if it's a meeting where it's nothing we couldn't do over the phone, to see them in person. And it really makes a huge difference.
So you were saying that before with like your blogging and everything, it was very easy because it was just telling your story and,
Yeah.
you know, just whatever you wanted to
Yeah,
say.
very fluid.
Very fluid. Yeah. Just like
Lots to talk about.
lifestyle
Yeah,
stuff.
lifestyle. Yeah.
But
Yeah, she said that like it becomes very monotonous, right? Or it's
Right.
very difficult to alter your messaging when you're trying to hone in on your messaging. So how do you make it be something new and
that
exciting?
feels authentic, that
and
feels
authentic.
fresh.
Right. Yeah.
So what are your strategies in that?
I really have found sharing other mom stories has helped, because it keeps the focus off of anything that I'm doing on my side and allows other moms to share. I think it's a cool space for people to be able to do that. I have wanted to start a Facebook group for a while of just where people can go on there and
Be a part of a community.
Exactly.
And have the story be led by your customers, right? Like your customers
Exactly.
are the hero. Your customers are the ones that who have the story, the success stories. Yeah, I think it's really smart.
right.
Have you found any challenges on like establishing local versus like expanded networks? Because you're an online business, right? So you're pursuing different communities based on different whatever, right? Like age, and you're looking for different income brackets or whatever. But have you found it to be more successful, your strategy is more successful locally versus, not? Or can you speak to like location and demographic?
So obviously, since it is online, I do see where everything's coming from, and I'm very surprised at the states that. I mean, New Jersey is actually one of my most popular states, and it's a small. There's a lot of people. I mean, I'll see I see a ton in Tennessee, and I think that's because military. There's a lot of moms out there, a lot. I also have a couple. I have my sister-in-law lives out there, and she is great on social media.
Brand
and that's
ambassador out there.
Totally, yeah, and takes the best pictures. I don't know how she does it, but all over the place. Yes, locally, I see in different demographics, of course, that it's going to do better. Where shops are actually open and will take the product, that's demographic too. I mean, Bay Area, of course, there's that market over there, and I think that's why a lot of online shops do what they do, because they can tap into different areas and industries and states and all of that. So I would say California does have a good chunk. I feel like I'm almost tapped out in the Bay Area, which that's where I'm from. So it makes sense. And it does very well there. And a lot of my customers are return customers. So that's the whole thing of, do we keep sizing up?
Right.
So the older ones can wear it eventually. So
Right.
yeah, does that
Oh.
answer kind of? Okay.
Yeah.
That is an interesting thought and strategy.
Yes. Yeah.
To create a product that can grow with your client to
Yeah.
a certain extent.
Yeah. Like, the best customer to have is one that stays.
Stays
As
for
opposed-
years.
Yeah.
Exactly. As opposed to just somebody who's
Having to
happy,
like
like
constantly
somebody.
100%.
find new
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
Brittany, I'm kind of. You're not the only person that's had an idea to like bring a product or find a product and then sell it online and then grow an online business. And kudos to you for being in a spot that you're at right now where you're able to run a business online even though it's really, really saturated. How long
Yes.
has the business been in this spot?
Well, it's going to be 2 years this February that it has been launched. I mean, it's been like 2.5, 3 years, about 3 years in process. And so they say, it's like 2 and a half, 2 years is like if your business is still
Defining,
thriving.
yeah.
Yeah, you learn a lot at that point, and this is definitely a transition point for me of how much more can I grow and what are the moves for that, and that's really amping things up. So this point in time is almost as scary for me as
It's the
launching.
launching.
Yeah, because it's go time. It's like
Yeah.
I really
Can you peel back
need
the
to.
curtain a little bit on what that means?
Yeah, so that means taking higher risks and really, to the point where I have to up my wholesale. I need to start setting myself quotas almost like I am back in sales. I need to get 20 to 50 shops I mean, 20, 50, that's a huge range, but 20 is like, okay, I got it. 50 is like,
Let's
okay,
go.
we're yeah.
Yeah.
And then from there, if I get that, that's amazing. But that's maintaining that. And inventory control, any retailer will tell you, is the hardest thing. You think, okay, I ordered so much stuff, and then now I have too much stuff, and then I sell this, and now suddenly people want more of it. It always comes in waves like that. Like you're selling, you're doing great, and then okay, now I've got to replenish, but at what rate do you do it? When do you do it? How do you gauge? So that's really just now I'm at least at the point where I can see my patterns and how things have gone. That's where all the ads and marketing and all of that, once you're taking that risk and spending more on that and more money, time, effort, everything, that's when you got to reevaluate. Okay, how are things coming in through doing the Instagram, Facebook ads, retargeting, all of that. So
Absolutely. And, you're saying all of this, and I think it's so interesting because I love fashion, and I always think it's like so surprising when I'm, scrolling on Zara or like a favorite boutique or something, and there's like that one item that just keeps going out of stock, and you keep trying to buy it, and it just keeps going out of stock, and then there's like 50 other items that like crickets, you know what I mean? And so I can imagine that's really difficult to keep up with that because you have no idea what's really going to be that one item until it happens, right?
100%.
And so my question is, when that is happening, at what point do you just keep up with the demand, or do you just decide, okay, this is gonna be out of stock, and then I'm gonna pursue a different design? How does that work?
Yeah, so there has been one particular thing, and it's so simple. It's the Remy stripe, which is so funny. You have a little Remy.
Yeah.
So that has been tried and true. Like that has not, people have lined up for it. I thought I stocked it max and it kept selling out. And you'd think that would be a great problem, but it wasn't a great problem at that point because I was so behind with my manufacturer. Fabric ran out. That's the thing. Fabric. That has been my biggest challenge of how much to order at one time. You have this mass amount and then being able to keep it on hand because I'm not making the fabric myself, of course. So having control over that. But to answer your question, for example, I had a very neutral color. It was natural. That's what it was called. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to add another version of that, just a little bit darker. Call it fawn. I thought it was great. And I had a little bit harder of a time at first. And it was just, I think, the way it was being marketed, the way the pictures, everything just weren't resonating with people. And so had to reevaluate that and did another photo shoot and, just constantly trying to figure out what is it that makes everybody tick.
Crazy,
yeah. And it was just this one ad that we did specifically. And it was the messaging. Everything was right about it. And that blew it up. It is fine. It is
Isn't that
hard.
so interesting how
it
it's
is.
I feel
it's
like
one
the
ad
photos,
that
the photos
has
of video make all the
the
difference.
right creative,
Yes.
the right messaging, and
Just the stars
but if
align.
if only every ad was the one ad, right? Because
If only. I
because
agree.
were you able to
Yeah.
use that ad and say, okay, this is the secret sauce. Now let's apply it to the next product that we think is going to kill.
Yeah.
Were you able to generate that sort of report or
Well,
not
yeah,
really?
I did. I did learn. Okay, so the light, airy, of course, that look it really does
winning look.
resonate.
Yeah,
it does,
yeah.
and it fits so perfectly with the brand. So that's great. That helps. And delivering the ad at the right time and when everything's not super saturated. That was very challenging over the holidays because everyone's running ads at the same time. Everybody's putting their brand out there at the same time. Or not being sold out or almost sold out or sold out of the sizes that everybody wants. So all of that. So basically learning now that I have to stay madly in stock or else I will be at a loss, and it's better to do that. And the thing is, we don't run a ton of sales because there's not really the ability to do that often, and it's just it's not what we do. So we do sales at certain amount of times and trying to warn people as much as possible. That does sell things out, but being prepared way ahead of time, which you think would be so easy.
Yeah.
Be prepared for a sale. How
Yeah.
hard is that? And then to have, okay, we're going to run it at this time.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have our inventory being replenished
Line
at that
up.
time. The fabric's going to line up. We're having, our zippers, everything's in at the same time. You just being streamlined like that. That's all learning, really.
Yeah.
And hearing from other people that was going to be difficult, I didn't realize it really was until it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think about like you're saying about even creating or changing the marketing and getting different like photos of the image or of the material or item, and how that makes such a difference, or like seeing it on somebody that you love or like that you follow on social media or whatever. It's like,
Yes.
it's so interesting how that groupthink happens.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, you hit a critical mass or whatever where there's just enough where all of a sudden it turns over.
Do you utilize any, like, do you have certain people that you send your products to, or how does that work?
Yeah, with influencers, yes. So the beginning, I worked with a ton of influencers. It was helpful. I learned followers don't always mean everything.
Engagement and
Yeah.
everything.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
So I know looking at followers, people think that they're going to get tons of sales,
Yeah.
or in the way I can gauge that is based off of using like a code, use X name 20, 20% off.
Yep.
So I could see that in my Shopify, and but followers, it doesn't always mean it's their engagement. It's how, and that's where I got really picky of how they're presenting themselves. I wanted it to be a certain type of person, and I work with less people now than I did. That will be ramping up again. I want to do an ambassador program and an influencer program, which those will be different, and see where that goes. So I've seen that successfully happen in some of my favorite women's brands. So I'm ready to do that now.
Definitely.
Definitely there. So
How do you assess influencers? If it's not just followers, that's a really easy way to assess.
So I mostly just really follow along their feed and see how engaged they are with everybody, how they talk to everybody, just kind of that. When the more engaged that they are, the more people feel like they're in a community. And now that I'm at that, which people really do, they are like that with their certain influencers, and I really do ask, like, if we do an ambassador program, that you already have tried out the product. I know that's asking a lot, so you have already had it, but I would rather this be something you really mean, that you really do use and love it, versus just, this is another thing I'm posting about. And because that's so common now, and that's, I kind of backed off from that personally with the whole blogging thing and influencing. And then on top of that, everyone else, it's like, you get so many cute things in a day sent to you by all these different brands. So I wanted, and I might not even be there as a brand personally to be that picky, but
you
I
want
am
it to be
being
authentic and genuine and everything. Yeah.
100%.
And I think people are really like aware of that right now.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
think
good.
so, too.
That's really good. Gosh. So cool being able to talk to somebody on like
The
your
other
end.
side. Yeah, because we've talked with influencers and we've talked
Yeah.
with like the creative providers.
And it's it's
Yeah.
difficult. It really is if you go full force on it.
Oh, yeah.
Which I can't even say I 100% ever did. It's a lot of work. And if you are really, really passionate
Hustling,
about it,
yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
But you have to be. You have
Yeah.
to be like,
It's a full-time job.
oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And you don't get the credit for it. People
Right.
like underestimate and
So are you happy to be kind of out of that space to a certain extent? I mean, not that you're out of it, but you were saying that you definitely shifted gears into like this business as opposed to just being a lifestyle blogger.
Yes. I mean, there are times when I do, to be honest, look at Instagram and look at other people that are consistently doing it. And I really do give them props for sticking with it. And I do feel like behind almost like, did I let this go? I liked doing it, but it was becoming very challenging to do it all. And the brand, family, because you guys know, like it's not easy.
No, yeah.
And then I also work for a project management company, so things are a little all over the place. If I throw that in there too, that did get kind of pushed under a little bit. But whatever I do, post or do, it needs to, it's authentic. And there are days that go by when I don't do anything, and then it's like you get that guilt almost. Am I letting this go? But it did need to be. There's only so much you
On the
can
back
do.
burner. Yeah. Especially when you have children. because you look at their little faces and they're like, "Mommy, look at me," you know, like they're just wanting your attention
100%.
all day.
And then she started asking for my phone so often that I'm like, this is my fault.
Yeah.
I'm
This
on
is
my
me.
phone
I'm
so
already,
much.
yeah, demonstrating to them what's
Yeah,
important.
closes my laptop. I'm
Right.
like, hey, this is real. And
Yeah.
she didn't sign up for an entrepreneurial parents and
Right.
all that. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I
We're
feel
living in
she'll-
an interesting generation.
Yes, we
I'm
so
kind
are.
of like curious to see what happens. Like, this is very off topic, but
I am too.
I mean, I think everyone struggles with this, you know,
Yes.
because I feel like it's so societally, like, there's so much pressure to have your life on
Out
social
there.
media and to have it reflect a certain thing. And yeah, you're like, our kids
Yeah, meanwhile, kids are just watching you.
kids are just like,
yeah.
They
I
don't
just
know
wanna
any
be a kid and
different.
have
They
my
just know
mommy
mom and
and
dad.
And I don't
daddy
care
yeah.
what I've got stuff all over my face.
Yeah.
I'm running around. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
the vibe that I need to
Yeah.
Yeah,
be more
yeah.
about. But
Right?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
hard though.
It
It's
is
hard to
really
be vulnerable
hard.
as a woman, especially. I
Yes.
think like Kevin will go on like stories, and I'm like, dude, you could any time of day. You just look great. I'm like, that is not fair, you know.
Yes.
But I'm
Wow,
like,
that's
if
so
you look at
true.
me 90% of the
Too.
time, I'm like, I
Same.
look like a crazy person. So
I say sorry like 50 times a day because
Yeah.
my husband works. I don't know. Do you work from home at all?
Yeah,
Half the
sometimes,
time.
half
Yeah.
times, yeah.
Yeah.
So is my husband does, and I'm
Yeah.
like, how are you? Like, he's like, I don't know. He obviously no comment, or he's like, you look
Right.
amazing. But
Right.
I'm like, yep, this is it.
Yeah, for sure.
We used to have it way more together.
Totally. I feel like though there are so many more influencers or people on the social media in that world that are showing more of their true
Yes.
self
Yeah.
and not all
Yes.
put together. And I think it's really refreshing.
I agree.
Yeah.
And
so,
yeah,
so we
and
can do
they
it.
mean it. Yeah, yeah,
We can do it.
100%.
Yeah, but the interesting problem about it is that it's like social media or no social media versus being authentic on social media. Obviously, if you're going to be on social media, be authentic, but
Right.
but there's also the time to put it away, right? And
Yes.
the time to
Yeah, that's
like
really important.
live an authentic life doesn't always mean post about an authentic life on
Yeah.
social media. It
This
means
is me again.
Right, right.
I'm a
right?
mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
no,
it's
it's
like
true.
you're staging
Yeah,
it
it
still
feels-
if you're on stories. You're still
Right. Oh
Right.
yeah,
Staging
I've
it. You're staging
definitely
a messy
spruced my
life.
house up many times
Yeah.
before doing a story.
Right.
yeah.
And then when someone's like, "Your house is so clean all
Yeah.
the time," I'm like, "Do
Ah.
I tell you it's
Yeah,
not?"
yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah.
So talking about like what's to come, you kind of mentioned that there is a lot of big steps here that make you as excited and nervous and all of the feels as it was starting the business. And you also have a baby on the way.
Yep.
So what if you can kind of like take us through what the next chapter looks like, the remainder of the year and maybe next 3 years at this thing. What are some of the milestones, including bringing in a new baby?
Yeah. So that we're actually figuring out right now what we're gonna do for like day in, day out. I mean, obviously my husband's he has his full-time job. He has stepped in and helped me more. I will need somebody to help do, even just orders themselves. That will be a game changer. Just have someone help with that. But yeah, bringing another life into the family, there will be a difference there. And do you put them, do you get help? Like, what do you do? So we're going to try to have another person come to the house and help us out a little bit. We don't really have family right next door, which is fine. But I am fortunate to have my cousins live locally. They're super responsible and helpful. So I'm going to pry them to help me. But really, really, really need to get wholesale on lock. Like I want to be in shops. That's where consistently my goal shop was this shop called Prim Pop over in Pleasanton, and they ended up being my first shop because which I was shocked, but I did know I had a connection. So I got very fortunate. But it really gave me the confidence that this will make it. There's another brand that has been around for a very long time, and we are amongst like the top 3 selling in the store. And so that gave me a lot of confidence that it's okay that I have the basics, essentials, the neutrals, all of that. I don't have to go way out of the scope right now and do all these prints to keep up. People want neutrals. It's actually harder to find. And so keeping that. So getting my wholesale on lockdown, I would like to have a sidekick like representative who can help me sell the brand to different stores. That would be my goal. treat them very well, and give them, of course, a commission off of what they sell, and they can just be a spokesperson for the brand, and have them a part of like our little family, basically. So that's the goal. I have, of course, thought about, okay, maybe this needs to be on hold for a little bit, and then I'm like, once we go on hold, it's not going to pick back up. Life will take over. So it's still there. It's still so relevant for us that. Yeah. Lots to come, I think, but
It's really exciting.
Yeah.
I want to know one of your like favorite or most special moments in the business with a certain like client. If you can think about like a story that you were a part of, can
Yeah.
you share anything that you can think of?
yeah,
off the top of
I
your head?
think, okay, so one thing I can think of is a lot of NICU babies. That has been really cool to have people send me messages like, you don't understand your gown. Knotted gowns are not 100% new, but they are somewhat new to the game. They're not like a onesie where...
Can you explain a knotted gown?
Yes.
Okay.
So it has the arms, and then it's like essentially a gown. It has 2 openings. You can open it easily for diaper changes, or if you want to cool them off or whatever. Luckily, bamboo is very breathable, so you don't usually have to do that. But it ties at the bottom. It's very aesthetically pleasing. It's like so cute, and it's the perfect newborn to like 3-month-old until they start rolling around. Usually, some people put their kids in them until they're like 6 months or so, even older. Like, okay, perfect. So I love that. And babies that are in the hospital for a long time, they need to be checked on constantly. So I got pictures personally sent. This gown he wore every single day. So I ended up sending them another one, and the just happiness from it that they showed and thankfulness. I'm like,
Wow.
I love that. And they're like, we thought of you every time. So now they're continuous customers, and they tell everybody about the brand. I didn't really do anything personally, just something that made a difference for them, and that all the nurses were in love with the fabric, and it's antimicrobial, so less germ, just things like that. And you're like, okay, I love that. So
Jeez.
that was awesome.
Yeah, and as
really cool.
as an entrepreneur, to create something or to be a part of that process, and then have that something become such an integral part of the most important part of like a family's life. I mean, yeah,
it's
even
cool.
if
I
you
feel
feel
that's
like I didn't really do, I didn't do anything.
Yeah,
I just
right.
made it. It's like, yeah, but you did, you
Yeah.
know. And that story now not only is special for them, but like you said, then they become ambassadors, share it with other people.
Yeah,
Jeez.
one of the hardest times for them, and yes.
So where can people find you on social media?
So the handle is the Willow Co. Or the Willow Co. And willowco.com. Yeah, mostly Instagram, Facebook, easiest. Hopefully a Facebook group soon. Try to get
Perfect.
some people in that.
Definitely. So just any moms just who
Yeah, or if you're
are wanting to
like,
connect with other moms.
yeah. I even joined a Facebook group when I was pregnant with my first, just because I wanted to see what the deal was. I learned a lot. I mean, there's just questions asked and all of that. Definitely you're not sitting and talking about the product the whole time.
Right.
But
And will you pop on there and do like lives? Like, is that your goal or?
yeah,
Okay.
that's something I need to do. That's something that once I do it, I know I'm going to be like, why didn't I do that before?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I think that will be something, and that will be more fun. And then maybe like meetups or whatever, for different pop-ups and stuff like that.
I love
And
that.
because it gets other brands together too. I know like the Fountains does that a lot. We did one over Christmas, and so yeah.
Okay, well, I'm excited to follow
Thank
along your
you.
journey.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, here we
It
go.
was so fun. Thank you
Brittany.
so much for having me.
Hey, thanks for listening. Don't be a stranger. Hit the subscribe button and let us know how you enjoyed the episode in a rating on the podcast app or in the comments below if you're watching. And remember, you're one of a kind.